Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Rose Smith from AbsoluteSoulSecrets.com. Thanks so much for joining me today for the March Horoscopes. It's a very interesting month coming up this month. We have a lot happening and it's the start of the astrological year because the sun is in Aries. So happy birthday all early Arians. Okay, so if you are new, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that notification bell right now. I would really appreciate that. I'm just going to whack on a video because it's sort of boring listening to me or looking at me all of the time. So I'll put this up as well. Remember that the stars impel, they do not compel. Okay, so the important thing to note is that there's no eclipses or retrogrades coming up this month. And February and March are the only months this year that we have this situation. There are, however, a lot of planets changing sign, 7 altogether, which is really very unusual. The most important changes, I guess, are Saturn going into Pisces and Pluto ingressing into Aquarius. So this is going to bring about profound intergenerational transformation that we all have to deal with. So for the next 2 years and 2 months, that is until May 2025, Saturn will reside in Pisces, and this is going to bring extra sensitivity. Saturn is really not at home in Pisces because Pisces is quite emotional. Pisces likes to go with the flow and sort of free will through life. Saturn is more serious and likes structure, regulations and order. So these two, as you can see, are quite different, like cheese and chalk. However, ultimately there is a path where balance can be found. If you are a Piscean and you're watching this, you can give some structure to creative activities, including, for example, scheduling and some guidelines, putting some guidelines in around your creativity. This could help you a lot, but it will affect, Saturn into Pisces will affect everybody, particularly Pisceans. Pluto moves into Aquarius, and from March through to June this year, we're going to get a little sample taste of what that is going to mean in our lives. And it also, you know, it's an intergenerational type of planet, what they call a transpersonal planet as well, right out there at the end of the solar system. So this is going to have profound changes for society. So after June, it will retreat back into Capricorn until January 2024. And then from 24 until 2044, Pluto will move into the humanitarian sign of Aquarius. And it will transform the world, and it will be permanent, these changes. It's a very serious type of energy and a serious time that we're all going to go through, or most of us are going to go through. Pluto is associated with death. There's no way to sugarcoat this. And I've been sitting on this for a while without mentioning it, but yeah, here we are, so I need to mention it. Unfortunately, we'll probably see many people pass away during this time, far more than usual. If you live in China, Russia, North or South Korea, Japan, the other Asian countries, Germany, the Middle East, particularly Egypt, if you live in an African country as well, things could get particularly tough. You may consider leaving your country in the future. Even in the Western countries, it's not a picnic. There will be substantial changes. Change can be hard sometimes. There's going to be all manner of issues around food in many cases and many countries. And even in Australia here, we only have 50% of the fertiliser that we need to grow food, and we import the rest. We'll probably still be able to import it, but we might see the price of food rise as a result, because the price of fertiliser will definitely rise. The current world order is about to go away in March. This is just a sample of what we see these next few months. There's going to be huge societal changes over the next few years, really from 24 through to 26. Then again around the early 30s, and it will continue right through till 2044. We will likely see a rise in humanitarianism, we'll see a rise in technology, and it'll be far more than what we've ever seen before. It's like we've been taking baby steps all this time. Technology is about to take off in a major way. The phoenix will rise from the ashes and new societal norms will develop, and hopefully they'll be based on greater equality for all this time around. This month, all star signs are again blessed with an amplified healing energy when Jupiter, Chiron and Venus do a three-way conjunction. This energetic energy brings to your focus a spiritual and emotional wound which could come up rising out of your subconscious into your mind. It's coming up for gentle release and for healing in the house that these planets appear in your chart. So that's why it's important to click on the timestamps below and go to that video for your star sign. The full moon in earthy Virgo on the 7th brings a more organised and detailed time when it's fabulous for getting things done, especially those things that are a bit messy or maybe you've been putting them off for a while. The new moon in fiery Aries on the 21st could result in quite a passionate and energetic start, some new beginnings coming into your life. At the start of the month, for the first day or two, we have Mercury conjuncting Saturn in Aquarius. There could be some holding back of communications or information, but this soon changes when Mercury moves into Pisces, and that'll be on the 2nd. This will bring more insight and intuition in your communications and your ideas. Okay, so that's it for this overview. Do watch my videos by hitting the timestamps below to find out which parts of your life will be affected and the other astro influences. Don't forget to check out your moon and ascendant signs as well. And as I mentioned before, if you're new, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell right now. Have a fabulous month, everyone, and many blessings for March 2023. Here comes your horoscopes now. Hello, awesome Aries. Okay, let's get on. We've got the cards to pick first, so I'm going to draw 2 tarot cards for you as theme cards for the month. Then we have a look at your horoscope in depth. Alrighty, let's go to the board and we'll have a look at what these cards have to say. Alrighty, so I like to close my eyes first and see what I can see. A lot of blue and aqua here. So blue, I feel like saying peace of mind coming to you. And Mercury, who does look after the mind, is darting about a fair bit. So you could have a lot to do. You do have March until the end of the month here in your 3rd house, which is also a lot to do with mind as well. So yeah, you could be feeling like you're getting stuff done and really accomplishing things this month. Let's have a look and see what card we get. It's the Ace of Pentacles, which is fabulous for your money. I will talk about your money because you've got the North Node and also Uranus here. And Venus going into this house as well. This is a house of money, so I will talk about that. Lots of new ideas. Venus does rule over money, so there's a number of indicators suggesting there could be really unusual things happen, but this is about new beginnings in your money supply. There could be some worry or confusion at first, all these grey clouds in the background here, but then you go through some sort of process or initiation or portal, if you like, and come out the other side. See this blue here, like the blue in the vision I just had? Clarity of thinking, peace of mind. Okay, so that's the first card to take note of, say the first half of the month. And then the second half of the month, I'll just close my eyes. What do I see for awesome Aries? Oh, okay, I don't know how to interpret this. It's like in ancient Rome, the wine jars full of wine, amphora they were called, or amphorae was the plural. And this is maybe about turning water into wine, and it could be to do with your money as well. It could be that there's an what would you say, unhappy situation, or a situation that is slightly negative in some way, and you end up making a purse out of a sow's ear, is the old-fashioned saying. So making the best of a situation, it actually turns out better than you think. Let's see what card we get. The card that comes up is the Strength card. It's like Spirit is helping you through, and you'll come out stronger than ever on the other side. It's a major arcana, so it's fairly important. So do bear these cards in mind. All right, I'm going to make this larger for you. The first thing to note here is that there's a lot of changes going on with planets this month. Generally, there's a lot of planets moving about. So there's actually 7, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 planets moving, which we don't normally get that amount of variation or movement. The big thing, of course, is Saturn going into Pisces and Pluto going into Aquarius, that I'll talk about in a moment. The other thing to note, it's only February and March this year that there are no retrograding planets and there are no eclipses. So in one way it's peaceful in some way, that we don't have to deal with the retrogrades or the eclipses. In the other way, the planets are very busy moving, so there's still a lot of changing energy. And when Saturn goes into Pisces and Pluto goes into Aquarius, they are huge changes. Saturn will be there for 2 years and 2 months. And Pluto is going in for 3 months as a sampler, then darting back into Aquarius until January 2024, and then moving again. Pluto's moving into Aquarius until 2044, so 20 years. So Pluto normally spends between 10 and 30 years in each sign. And so, you know, it's a very big change. Okay, so let's go through this and have a look. The first thing to note is on the 2nd of the month, Mercury is joining the Sun from here down into here. It's joining the Sun and Neptune in your 12th house. This is Pisces, and it could mean that it's a great time for meditation. It's a great time for getting in touch with your intuition and your psychic ability, paying attention to your dreams. You might find a lot of info and messages coming up from the subconscious. It's really good news for you know, your spirituality in general. You could also be learning about spirituality. You could be looking at new ideas, and there's lots of communications with other people about what you find. On the 7th of the month, this is called a worm full moon in Virgo. I guess it's time to go out hunting for worms. I don't know how that works, but it's good for your garden anyway. Full moon in Virgo over here. In your everyday life, your habits could get a shake-up. Maybe you decide that you want to clean up your act a bit in terms of your diet, or, you know, maybe your exercise regime. Could also be some turbulence in your normal everyday work, or perhaps your health, and that sort of spurs you on to do something about it. So Virgo is very interested in health, by the way, so you could have all sorts of insights about your health or your well-being. Virgo also loves the earth and loves to get their hands out in the earth and plant and do all that sort of stuff, do some gardening. So probably a worm full moon. Virgo would really like that. So you could get stuff done outside as well. On the same day, Saturn enters Pisces until May 2025, okay, and that'll be here. And this is to bring some sort of structure to your spiritual practices, perhaps. Maybe if you do the cards, for example, you might structure how you do them. You might learn new spreads. You might get new bags for your cards and organise your cards if you have multiple decks, for example. But Saturn loves structure. It brings a restriction and a limitation, but you can actually make that work for you by getting more organised. Saturn loves you to be organised and not to leave things to the last moment, to leave plenty of time. It's like slow and steady wins the race. And there's a real party going on here in your 12th house with Neptune already here, bringing messages from the subconscious. So it's a matter of organising, categorising, classifying the information that you get. Maybe you decide you're going to get a journal and you might put tabs on the side and organise it by subject matter, for example. The sun here brings insight and awareness so that you can understand what's going on. Mercury, of course, is going to bring you lots of new ideas about all of these subconscious forces. So it's pretty exciting. On the 11th, Venus conjuncts Jupiter, which is also conjunct Chiron, okay, 11, 12 and 13 degrees, these three. And this could bring peace to old wounds, particularly those wounds about your self-esteem, how you present yourself to the world, the perceptions that other people have about you, and maybe even your identity and your appearance. You might decide to change your hair or your clothing or something. You want to put out more of who you are and be more authentic and genuine about who you are and what your message to the world is. Maybe you get some clarity on that. And there's quite a fair bit happening here too, you can see. And the sun will be coming in here shortly as well, bringing more insight and awareness. On the 16th, Venus enters Taurus, as I mentioned before, bringing clarity and a sort of smooth flowing energy around your finances, but also your possessions and the things that you value, what you think are important. We've got the North Node in there at 7 degrees and Uranus at 15 degrees. So Venus will catch up to these two and they'll all end up being conjunct. And it's almost like it's fated or it's destiny that you work out your finances. Uranus can bring some very unpredictable and unique innovations around how you make money. So maybe you are full of creative ideas for new ways that you can save money and make money. So that's good news. The 16th of the month sees Venus. Oh, I've just talked about that, Venus entering Taurus. And the other thing I need to say about that is Venus in Taurus in your second house is very much at home here. So these things come very naturally to you, even if they are unusual. It's important that you listen to yourself and don't let other people talk you out of your new, unusual ideas because they're out of the box and they're non-conformist. That's okay. It's okay to be like that. The 18th of the month sees Mercury then entering Aries, so it's jumping from here down to here, bringing even more communications around your identity and appearance and more new information, basically new information coming in. Then on the 20th, the sun moves into Aries as well here, and that brings brightness and a sense of contentment and perhaps even happiness. It brings insight and awareness around why you are the way you are and how you approach the world generally. The new moon then jumps in, bringing new beginnings, which is fabulous, and new ways to present yourself to the world. So, yeah, it's a whole new start about that. The 23rd sees Pluto entering Aquarius up here. This is to do with your friends, groups and connections. And you might find that some die off. There could be changes in your friendships or the people that you know, they just naturally die off, or there's some form of attrition. But that's so, you can make space for new people to come in. You might also find that people that you used to be friends with a long time ago, they come back into your life, and so there's a rebirth that goes on. So Pluto is all about the phoenix, the bird that rises from the ashes. So it's sort of like a rebirth experience. Sometimes when, you know, friendships die, or connections with other people die, there can be some degree of manipulation or control. So Pluto is often implicated in that as well. So just be aware that yes, things might finish up, but sometimes there's a bit of turbulence before that, because Pluto does bring all of the deep and very intense emotions and also addictions. If you have, you know, friends with addictions, you might just decide that you don't want to be part of that. Or if you do have addictions yourself, maybe, you know, there's some friend that can help you, you know, or there's some way of overcoming the addiction as Pluto, you know, moves. So then on the 25th of the month, we have Mars entering Cancer down here, bringing a lot of energy to your home and your friends and the people that visit your home, and also your family. So you could be full of energy for cleaning up, reorganizing your home. Maybe you do some renovations, but there's a lot of energy going on there at home. You may involve your family with that. If you do, just be cautious that you know, there's no disagreements, because you might have your, you know, mind made up about something and you're full of so much energy, and then bingo, there's an argument. So do watch for that. Alrighty, so that's it. Remember, you're coming from a place of strength, so you need to be able to control that strength appropriately. Awesome, Aries. Have a wonderful month, and I'll see you soon. Don't forget to check your moon and your ascendant sign. Bye for now. Hello and welcome, terrific Taurus. I'm Rose Smith, as you know, and I'm here with your March horoscope. Well, we've got a big month, and firstly we're just going to do the cards, 2 theme cards for the month for you. So let's go to the board now and see what these cards have to say first. Okay, so closing my eyes now, what do I see? Doors opening in front of me suggests opportunities are coming. They're white doors, so they could be of a pure or an innocent or a spiritual type of nature. Okay, let's get more clarity as we go along. The card that comes up is the Page of Wands. New information coming to you about being motivated, inspired, and creative. And we do have the full moon here in your 5th house of creativity, so things are getting a shake up this month for you in that regard. And when the dust settles, then you might find some diamonds hidden in the dust, hidden amongst the rubble of what comes up. Let's have a look at the second card now. I'll just close my eyes. I see a bumblebee. The focus is on the wings, like flapping your wings as hard as you can to get somewhere. You might have an idea, a new project that requires a fair bit of work to get cracking, but you'll be successful. Let's have a look and see what the cards say. It's the 10 of Pentacles. This is fabulous for money coming in. It signals actually the end of some sort of creative project or endeavour, where you finally start to reap some rewards for what you've done. Sometimes real estate is involved. You see this home in the background. You may be thinking of buying or selling. A lot of success around it. And she's wearing gold here. So this is a solar plexus. It's about getting an idea and carrying it to full term, and then capitalising on your investment. So probably money coming to you after you've put some work into something, but it's likely to be quite good, work out quite well for you. Okay, so let's make this a bit bigger so you can see it like that. First thing to note is that there's a lot of planets changing sign this month. Is very unusual because there's 7 planets changing sign, which doesn't normally happen. The other unusual thing is that there's no retrograding planets, no eclipses. So it's quiet in that regard, but busy in the regard of all these smaller changes that you've got to deal with. There are two really super big changes though, which are Saturn moving into Pisces. It's in Aquarius now, and it will be there until May 2025. So for you, that is to do with your friends, your groups, your connections, and also your hopes and dreams. I'll talk about that in a minute. The other big one is Pluto moving into Aquarius up here in your house of career. You could say goodbye to some sort of career and hello to a new career. Perhaps the new career is something that you used to do a long time ago and it is reborn. So it will be here for 3 months. So the middle of the year, you'll get some sort of idea about what it is exactly, and that's a little sample for you, because in it goes back into Aquarius. Sorry, it goes back into Capricorn, and then in January it goes back here into Aquarius, and then you'll find out that over the next 20 years that's what you're going to be doing, because it's there till 2024, a very long time. Okay, so on the 2nd of March, Mercury joins the Sun and Neptune in Pisces up here, and a bit of a party going on. This is all about your friends. You may have, you may meet new friends that have a spiritual or musical sort of talent or ability, or maybe you join a group that is to do with music, perhaps TV, film, or spirituality, and there's a lot of discussions about it, bringing new ideas, new learning for you. And it's also your hopes and dreams as well could be affected. On the 7th, we have a worm full moon in Virgo. Okay, it's called worm, I presume, because this is the time of the year you go out hunting for worms to put in your garden. I'm guessing, I don't really know. I should have probably looked that up. Here it is here in your house of creativity, as I mentioned before. But this is also to do with romance or living closer to the world of the child, and it's also leisure and pleasure and entertainment. So could be some sort of shake-up here, something boils up from your subconscious, you know, the still waters run deep, and something then surfaces from your subconscious in these areas. So the world of the child, you may find you're dealing with more children, or perhaps you're dealing with your own inner child. Then the 7th of March, Saturn entering Pisces, as I mentioned before, and that is to do with putting some sort of structure around your friendships. Maybe you need to put boundaries around certain friends because they turn up at tea time, for example, or they want to come from, you know, interstate or somewhere and come and stay with you, and they just assume it's okay and they turn up on your doorstep. Things like that. So boundaries are appropriate. On the 11th of March, Venus conjuncts Jupiter, conjuncting Chiron, okay? And this is bound to bring, you know, a lot of peace to old wounds of a spiritual nature, because it's here, Venus, Jupiter, Chiron. So there's some sort of spiritual wound that rises, and Jupiter is very, you know, well-meaning, and it's a good fortune planet. It's a lucky planet, and something may be healed. You might be feeling quite lucky. So peace to old wounds around your spirituality. On the 16th of March, Venus enters Taurus, and down here. So this is the house of your identity and how you approach the world. So Venus coming in here brings a smooth flowing, beautiful energy of peace, and it's perfectly at home here, Venus in Taurus. and it's joining your North Node and Uranus. So something unpredictable or strange could happen around your identity or your appearance or how you approach the world. But it's probably very favourable with Venus there as well. So that's probably good news. The 18th sees Mercury entering Aries here, joining the party here in your 12th house of spirituality, and bringing a lot of messages from your subconscious. And we have Jupiter and Chiron already in there as well. So then on the 20th, the Sun comes, and happy birthday to all Arians, actually. Yes, because it is Aries. Also then we have the new moon in Aries, bringing new beginnings, and here it is here, and this will, sort of tweak something in your subconscious to start something new. Maybe you find some new processes or new techniques that are quite spiritual in nature that can help you in some way. Pluto enters Aquarius on the 23rd. Now this is that big one I was telling you about up here, and it's going to affect your career. Sometimes this can even affect a parent or an authority figure as well. But something's reborn from the ashes, something new comes. Sometimes, if something dies before something new comes, there could be some sort of issue around dominance and control, so just watch for that. The 25th sees Mars entering Cancer, and you're likely to be full of energy for exploring your local area, for learning, for studying, getting stuff done around your local area, maybe going and paying bills, chit-chatting over the neighbour's fence and things like that. Well, that's it. Terrific, Taurus. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to check out your moon and your ascendant. Bye for now. Hello and welcome, gorgeous Geminis. I've got your March horoscope here, and it's a bit exciting because there's lots happening. Okay, but first we're going to draw the two cards, so let's go to the board and do that. First card is the first half of the month. Let's see what we get. Okay, closing my eyes now. What do I see? Okay, walking along a corridor, and there's just 2 steps in front of me to walk up. A little bit of effort that needs to go into something to take these action steps. But there's dappled light here. It's like maybe you've been through a difficult circumstance. However, with this dappled light, you could now see where you're going. Let's see what the cards say. The card that comes up is the Six of Pentacles, to do with your finances. March is a month of organising finances, having people ask you for money perhaps, and you decide who gets paid, how they get paid, why they get paid, blah, blah, blah. But you're the one that's in control. So organising your finances, if you've got children or perhaps even a partner, they may be asking you for money. Only you can decide what you're going to do. But the important thing here is you'll see, I don't know if you can see that on your monitor or your phone, that she's weighing it up. She's got scales in her hand. She's weighing up if she's going to give them money and how much and under what terms and conditions. You can do the same. Okay, so Six of Pentacles, it's a favourable card, especially with that electric blue. Spirit is on your side. Now let's have a look and see what we see in the second half of the month. The door's opening in front of me. I get the word slingshot. I see like a sort of rubber band type thing. It's like a bungee cord actually. And so you can slingshot yourself into a position where you get there very quickly. The card that comes up is the Star. It's a major arcana. It's very important. So by sending your hopes and dreams out into the universe, you can slingshot towards your goal. So this is good news. The thing about it, you know, with law of attraction, for example, people don't tell you generally that, yes, there's work required and you need to be practical and you need to take all of the action steps to do it. And so usually law of attraction goes like, oh, just think it and it'll happen, and it's not so simple as that. Okay, so she's here on the shore connected with Mother Earth. That's what you have to do. You have to have proper grounding in order to manifest physically. And then she's got the subconscious ocean here. So she's sort of got one leg in the ocean and one leg on the shore. And so this is giving her grounding, but it's also putting her in touch with the subconscious forces while she's sending her message out into the universe. This is what's necessary to manifest your physical desires. And I recently did a couple of videos about this if you want to go and check. But yeah, just wishing for stuff, it's fantasy land, and we see this all the time. A lot of people not manifesting physically because they're not physically grounded, often have lower back problems too, or problems with their legs, ankles or feet. Okay, so they're indicators. The Star, but it's a very favourable card. Now let's just make this a bit bigger so that you can see like that, because now we're going to talk about your horoscope. Now, there's a couple of points: no retrogrades, no eclipses, and a lot of activity going on with all of the planets. So the first thing to note is the first couple of days, Mercury and Saturn conjunct at 27 and 29 degrees Aquarius. And there could be some sort of limitation, perhaps. It's like maybe you want to reach out into the universe, like this card here, but there's some sort of limitation around it, so you need to start working on what that limitation is. But on the upside, Saturn also gives you structure, so, you know, stability, and so you can manifest your heart's desires, broaden your horizons in your life by dealing with the structure properly, dealing with time properly, scheduling, things like that. Okay, so that's the first thing. Mercury is joining the Sun and Neptune in Pisces, so Mercury is moving here in your house of career. It's also the house of authority figures, including a parent. So you might find lots of conversations, lots of new ideas, learning, various communications about your career if you've got one, or maybe you're going to go and restart, and especially because you have Saturn moving in there, but I'll talk about that later. So the next point is that there's a full moon, and it's a worm full moon in Virgo. So down here, it's a great time to go out and get worms. Look, I don't know why it's called a worm full moon, but I imagine that's what it is. The worms are digging up the soil, and it's actually good for your gardens. I see it as a good thing. On the 7th also, Saturn then moves into Pisces. It's not really at home in Pisces, but it does give more flexibility than, you know, some signs. So Saturn in Pisces in your house of career and authority figures, or maybe a parent, can bring some sort of restriction that you can work towards satisfying. You can work towards easing a restriction. Okay, so it's not a bad thing at all. It's there for 2 years and 2 months until May 2025. And this could be, for example, you might be thinking about studying with the point of view later of, you know, moving into a career, and Saturn brings some sort of timetabling, scheduling, some sort of stability around your study and how you do it. It gives you determination and self-discipline to be able to do it, and not only study but in your career. Okay, and this is a type of career that makes your heart sing. It's not just, you know, going and doing something rote. It's going and doing it because you love it. Next thing is on the 11th, we have Venus conjuncting Jupiter, conjuncting Chiron, which brings peace to old wounds. And it's here, this is all happening in your house of connections and groups, and also your hopes and dreams. There's some sort of healing here with Chiron, Jupiter and Venus together. So this is a beautiful energy. You might find, for example, that if you had a falling out with a friend, that peace could be made this month. So that's good news. You might find if you're a bit of an introvert and had trouble making friends, that this is resolved in some way. So there's also likely to be an increase in connections, more friends, more people that you meet, and you meet them. They could be beautiful people, or you meet them in a beautiful area, a beautiful space, or there's a beautiful, smooth flowing, peaceful harmony between all of you. So this is a really lovely energy. On the 16th, Venus will then enter Taurus here in your subconscious. So this can bring a lot of beautiful dreams. They might be romantic dreams as well. Also, it's joining North Node and Uranus, so something unusual could happen. That's a part of your destiny. And with Venus here, it could be quite lovely. Sometimes Venus in the 12th house can indicate somebody who's unavailable. You might fancy somebody, but they're not available for some reason. That could be they could be with another person, or maybe they're emotionally unavailable. It could be a current partner who's sort of a bit distant, or something like that. And it also suggests sometimes that there's people that need you very much. They might be your parents, or someone incapacitated, or in some sort of facility like an old age home, or maybe even a prison or a hospital. That also goes with the 12th house. On the 18th, Mercury enters Aries, joining Jupiter and Chiron here, right there. So lots of new ideas and chit-chat, friendly chit-chat with these groups and these new connections that you're going to meet. And the Sun also then comes in to join the party and brings insight and awareness and a feeling of happiness or contentment even. The new moon jumps in here as well, bringing new beginnings to the people that you meet. So this is wonderful, because it's like a whole new game changer. It can be where you meet all of these new people, and this major healing goes on. Pluto enters Aquarius on the 23rd of the month, and it's going to stay there for about 3 months, so into June. And then it will come back into Capricorn until January, and then it will go back into Aquarius from January 2024 until 2044. Pluto here can bring the finishing up of some circumstance, like maybe you want to go traveling, because this house is associated with traveling and study, and also spirituality. So you could travel a fair bit, so you have to tie up loose ends and finish things up in your present location, so that you can broaden your horizons and seek out new vistas. So that's one of the possibilities. Sometimes in order to broaden your life, you might need to finish relationships, although this is not specific to that, but it can mean that there's some sort of things like the really sort of deeper, darker types of emotions come up around that, whether that be power and control or maybe addictions. But on the upside, this also brings new beginnings, because Pluto is the planet of rebirth. So you might find yourself studying something that you were interested in a very long time ago. You might find yourself going back to a country that you've had some connections with in the past. And that could be more than 10 years ago, because Pluto typically spends between 10 and 30 years in this in each sign, so it moves around the board very slowly, and so things from the more distant past come back. It's not like something happened last year, perhaps, you know. So quite distant. Now the 25th sees Mars entering Cancer here, as I mentioned before, bringing a lot of energy to your financial zone. This is really good news. It's like you're really super motivated to improve your finances and get things in order, hence this card. Okay, so that's it, everybody. Don't forget to check out your moon and ascendant as well, and have a fabulous month. Bye for now. Hello, compassionate Cancer. Well, I'm here with your March horoscope. There's a lot happening. So let's get to the board. I'm going to draw 2 cards as theme cards for the month for you. So the first card, first half of the month, I'll close my eyes now. Oh, I see a gold wedding band on your wedding finger. This suggests that something is completing, coming together. It's like the integration of the energies. It gives you more control over your life. So this is really good news. Let's see what card we get. Strength card. Okay, fabulous. So no matter what's going on down around you at the moment, the universe is giving you strength. But as hard as the situation may seem, it's like you're getting something out of this on a spiritual level, because you're integrating the energy. So whatever this issue is, and we'll find out more clearly as we go along through your horoscope, whatever the issue is, you're going to come out much stronger than before, and of course much more experienced. Okay, so you won't have to go through it again, that's for sure. It's a major arcana card, so it's pretty important. Now, let's have a look in the second half of the month for you, caring Cancerians. What do I see? Okay, sharpening of knives. Knives are about cutting. It's very much the Mars energy, incisiveness, being incisive, getting to the core of the issue, cutting right down to the middle, to the core. Okay, so I want to say something like cutting your teeth on a certain circumstance or on a certain situation. So cutting your teeth is like getting practice, getting experience, that sort of thing. Okay, and the card that comes up is the 8 of Pentacles. I like this card actually, because it suggests that through craftsmanship, through good honest labor, with creativity and spirit involved, there's a lot of activity here, and that you'll be justly rewarded. So you put your creativity into something and you're going to get something back out, and it'll be fair and commensurate with what you've done. It's actually quite a spiritual card. If your last name is Smith, like myself, think of blacksmith, silversmith, metalsmith, people who actually do these sorts of jobs, but there is a spiritual element to it as well. So this is good news, okay? So, and you can see here in your career house, there is a lot happening, and there's a major healing going on this month as well. So let's have a look at your horoscope now, and I'm just going to make that a bit bigger so that you can see much more. Okay, line those up straight because they're going to come into play. Okay, so the first thing to notice is there's no retrogrades, no eclipses, and the first 2 days of the month, Mercury and Saturn are conjunct here at 28 and 29 degrees Aquarius. So there could be some sort of holding back on information regarding joint resources or intimacy. Maybe you're not getting cooperation from someone, or the conversations or the messaging or the information is restricted in some way. It could also be you holding back, you not telling the full story, but there might be a reason for that around your investments or your finances. Okay, so this may be a good thing, I don't know, but it is connected with your money, and you do have Lilith here in your personal finances causing issues as well. However, this card suggests that, you know, through work, creativity, that you will be rewarded in a commensurate way to the efforts that you put in. So that is good news. There's lots of planets changing sign here. Very unusually, there's 7 in fact, which I can't remember when that happened last. So lots of small changes, even though there's no retrogrades or eclipses. On the 2nd, Mercury joins the Sun and Neptune in Pisces, going in here. This is all about expanding your life, and it could be through your spirituality, it could be through travel, people in other countries. This is called the House of the Higher Mind. It's all about you broadening your horizons and your vistas in life. Mercury going in there brings learning, new ideas, new communications, and there's a real party going on there. On the 7th of March, we have a full moon in Virgo. This is called a worm full moon, and it's connected to communications, your local area, gadding about town and doing jobs, chatting over the back fence to the neighbour. A full moon can bring some sort of transformation in your local area, or, you know, even if it's something just like a traffic situation that you have to deal with. Sometimes it's a bit turbulent, so yeah, take it easy. Don't put too much on yourself. You know, it's probably not a good time to promote or market yourself during these few days around the full moon in Virgo. The 7th also sees Saturn entering Pisces until May 2025. This is really significant. It's going into your 9th house here in Pisces, not Aquarius, Pisces. And Saturn in Pisces isn't really at home. However, it does bring a tad of flexibility. So although there might be some restrictions on you regarding travel or how you expand your life, there are ways around it. There's workarounds, okay? Maybe it's a financial issue that you feel is holding you back. Is it holding you back, or is it making you think about what you really want and how do you work towards it? You know, Saturn can give you some structure so that you can actually achieve your goals and make them real in the physical world. On the 11th, Venus conjuncts Jupiter, conjuncts Chiron, bringing peace to old wounds here in your home of career. And this is your real career that makes your heart sing, but it's also to do with authority figures such as a parent. So something's being healed here so that you can expand your career or your authority in the world. Venus, Jupiter, Chiron, so this is 11, 12 and 13 degrees all sitting on top of each other in Aries, bringing lots of spontaneity and energy. Sorry, there's a plane just flying over now. Of course, I'm doing this, that's why it's doing it. They're not supposed to fly this way actually, but anyway, that's how it goes. But this is fabulous. So peace to old wounds around your career and deciding what it is that makes your heart sing in a career. And you may even decide to go back to something that you dropped a while ago. But certainly expansion and healing around you. The 16th of March, Venus then enters Taurus here, and this is to do with peace and harmony, socialising with friends and groups, meeting new people, so you never know who you might meet, and at some point Venus will be blending with the North Node and Uranus. So something unusual could happen that is destined or fated to happen. On the 18th, Mercury joins Aries as well, jumping into, from this party into this party, bringing new ideas, learning, communications to do with your career. You might seriously be thinking about some form of study. And it could have even, maybe you'd like to do it overseas, but finances are, sort of stopping you in some way, or delaying you, or making you think, oh, I'd like to go to London, but that's too expensive, so I'll go to some other country instead. It's changing your ideas a bit, tweaking your ideas. Then where did I get up to? Venus enters Taurus. 18th, Mercury enters Aries. I've talked about that. 20th, Sun goes into Aries as well here, bringing insight, awareness, and maybe even some happiness or contentment around your career choices. So it may not be perfect, but you get it to something that's approaching being okay, and you feel fine with that. You could even feel happy with that. Then we have new moon in Aries, bringing new beginnings. So there's a lot of focus on this area of what is your career, what are you supposed to be doing with your life, what is your life's mission. And it doesn't matter how old you are, it's never too late to start, and to start working on whatever your life's mission is. There's a new beginning here. It might be something like art, or, using your creativity in gardening. It might be, being a wonderful support to your family. It could be an actual paid career. There's lots of ways to use your time on a daily basis, but it also brings you some sort of authority or credibility yourself. On the 23rd, we have Pluto entering Aquarius, which is pretty major. This could be signaling that it's certainly transformative. It could be signaling that something in your life around intimacy or investments is finishing up. You may decide to stop some investments and go with others. You may decide that it's not so much about relationships, but maybe an old habit or a pattern about investing or shared resources finishes up. So you and your partner might decide that you're going to sell real estate, for example. But often with this, a new beginning comes. So it's like the phoenix rising from the ashes. So we're getting a sample from March to June this year of what area of your life or how it's going to be affected. And then it'll go back, Pluto will come back into Capricorn until January. And then from January it goes back here into your shared resources and intimacy zone from January 2024 until 2024 until 2044, so 20 years. So you'll get a sample, so pay attention, because that part of your life is going to be hugely transformed over that 20 years. On the 25th, Mars enters into Cancer here, finally coming out of the 12th house, which is good news because it's not at home there. And this is encouraging you to make a new statement to the world, to really put yourself out there with vim and vigor, energy and gusto. Put your messages out into the world, and you could think about changing your identity or your appearance. So, it's all about how you approach the world. So it's going to be with energy, that's for certain. All right, so thank you so much, Cancer. Don't forget to check your moon sign and also your ascendant, your rising sign as well. Have a fabulous month. Bye for now. Welcome, lovely Leo. I've got your March horoscope here, and there's a lot going on. let's draw these two tarot cards as theme cards for your horoscope first. So we'll go to the board now. There it is. And we'll draw these two cards. I'm closing my eyes now. What do I see for lovely Leo? Okay, in a vehicle driving along, it's like you're in a hurry to get somewhere. I suggest you slow down. It's what I see is like looking out of the windscreen. It's like you're looking, and you're looking for something, but can you find it? So you need to go slower if you want to find it, because you could miss it driving quite quickly. I get you sort of pulling over to the left, so you could get the message that, yeah, I need to listen to my intuition more and slow down and not rush. It almost feels like, not frantic, but it feels rushed. So you're causing yourself stress when you rush. So just slow down, take a deep breath. It's all going to be okay. And that one's upside down, and we don't do upside down cards. Okay, so the card that comes out is the Two of Swords. Maybe this is a pattern that you've got, you know, trying to move too quickly. Sometimes accidents result when you move your body too quickly, so watch for that. There's some sort of reflections from the past here. You're coming up to making a decision. It's like a T-junction. Will I go left? Will I go right? It's like driving the vehicle. I do see you going more to the left. So it's like, let the universe show you how it wants to operate in your life. While it's good to be in control of your life, we're kidding ourselves if we think we can control every little detail. If we can micromanage something, it just doesn't work. But you've got a big decision to make fairly soon. And you are probably being influenced by the past, so that's okay as long as you're aware of it. Okay, so Two of Swords. Okay, then in the second half of the month, closing my eyes now, what do I see for you? People clapping. I'm like at some sort of an event, like a stage show. And how appropriate, because Leo likes to be on stage usually. Even if they say they don't, they do want to be the centre of attention, and that's okay because you're ruled by the sun. The sun is the centre. You know, it's very important, so that's fine. But look, you're too hard on yourself. The issue here is I see everybody clapping you, so your performance is very good, so don't worry so much. All right, so the card that comes up is the Lover's card. So this is about coming to terms with those parts of yourself that you're not sure of. Maybe you feel insecure in some way. However, it goes better than what you think in your logical mind. Whatever the situation is, maybe you do have to appear on stage. Maybe there's some sort of public, working with the public, and you know, it doesn't go initially as well as you'd hope, but you're going to get it. You're going to work it out. So don't be hard on yourself. Don't belt yourself up. The angels are looking out over all that goes on here. So you're coming together with the energy. You're integrating the energy, and then it's going to be like water off a duck's back. You could be on quite a steep learning curve about something. All right, it's major arcana, so it is fairly important. Now I'm going to make this bigger. Where are we? Right, like that. Bear these two cards in mind because they're quite important. No retrogrades, no eclipses at the beginning of the month there. Oh, well, you can actually see there are a ton of planets changing signs. 7 actually. It doesn't normally happen like that, but there you go. And at the beginning of the month, Venus conjuncts Saturn sorry, it's not Venus, it's Mercury conjuncts Saturn. And this is in your house of partnerships with people. You could be holding back on some information. There's some sort of restriction around information. Or maybe people are not telling you the full story either. But there's a full story. You don't have all of the information concerning your partnerships, your key relationships with people, people that are close to you. Okay, it's okay though. Don't be concerned. So that's just at the beginning of the month. And then Mercury joins the Sun and Neptune. So Mercury is here and it goes into your house of shared resources, those assets and resources that you share with another person, another company, the government, for example, taxes, loans, 401k or superannuation if you're in Australia. And there's lots of new ideas and communications about these shared resources. It's also intimacy as well. And you could be learning a thing or two about your assets and how to manage your assets that you share with somebody else. On the 7th, we have the full moon in Virgo down here, shaking up your finances, okay? So it could be a bit turbulent and you could be very concerned about your finances for some reason. It's called a worm full moon, a great time to go out and get worms for your garden. I think it's just basically saying, compost, be careful with your money, don't waste your money, and maybe grow your own veg. Virgo likes to do that. Virgo has a very close affinity with the earth. So be earthed, be practical about your money. Then we have on the 11th, Venus conjuncting Jupiter, conjuncting Chiron, okay, bringing peace to old wounds up here in your 9th house. This is your house of the higher mind. It's all about learning. It's also about new vistas, broadening your horizons. There's some sort of healing here. Perhaps you had problems with learning when you were younger, and now, you're getting a handle on it, So there's some sort of expansiveness here, and it's happening in a very smooth flowing way. So this brings peace to old wounds. You can grow your life, and it might involve travel, other countries, philosophy, spirituality, or perhaps even doing a course or two. The 16th of March sees Venus entering Taurus here. It's very at home. Venus loves to be here. This is about your career, and so there's a smooth flowing energy with peace coming into your career zone now. So it might be turbulent, it might be, up and down, but it's going to end up that you'll have some contentment. It's also around authority figures. Perhaps a parent is involved or people you look up to, and it's joining the North Node and Uranus. At some point Venus will come during the month. So it travels pretty quickly, and so, first, second week of the month, it's going to conjunct the North Node and Uranus. It's like a fated situation happens, and it's quite unusual. It's unpredictable. It could be volatile. It could even be rebellious. But yeah, this is going to bring you some sort of peace. So it's a good thing. Then we have on the 18th, Mercury entering Aries, joining here, joining Jupiter and Chiron, and bringing a lot of communications. The Sun also is coming on the 20th of the month, and the new moon on the 21st of the month. And this brings a brand new beginning in the house of the higher mind. There's some sort of stability, there's some sort of comfort, a new start. Maybe you're thinking about a course, maybe you're thinking about going overseas, okay, and that would be good too. Then the 23rd sees Pluto entering Aquarius here in your house of partnerships. Something could die, and that's okay, so that it can be born again. You might find some sort of relationship ended and now it's starting up again along new lines. So it could be reborn. The phoenix rises from the ashes in a new improved way. Okay, and then on the 25th, Mars enters Cancer here. Mars goes into your 12th house of spirituality. It's not completely at home here. It brings a lot of energy. The 12th house is not really about being energetic, however. It's about relaxing and taking it easy and looking within and following all the signs that you get. So with Mars in there, you could feel somewhat frustrated. You could feel irritable, and then you need to deal with that. All of this energy, you don't want to sort of jump, look before you leap type of energy, because you could be tempted to make a decision or to leap into something, but because you've got Mars in the 12th house, it's just not the best time. So wait another month, and when Mars gets here into your sign, then you'll have the energy to go ahead and you'll have the green light. So be a bit patient. Things don't happen straight away, but they will happen, and it takes time to integrate the energy. So you'll make this important decision that you need to, and it will take time, and you just have to give yourself time. That's it. All right, thank you so much, lovely Leos. Have a wonderful month, and don't forget to check out your moon sign and also your rising or ascendant sign. I'll catch you later. Bye for now. Hello and welcome, Vivacious Virgo. Thanks so much for watching today. I'm going to draw 2 cards as theme cards for the month for you, and then we'll have a look at your horoscope. Let's go to the board. Okay, here's the business. But before that, let's draw these 2 cards. I'm closing my eyes now. What do I see for Virgo? All right, going up in the world, I see it's like an elevator, and I'm in the front of it. I haven't stepped onto the elevator yet. Both the doors are closed, but it just means be patient and wait, because you're going to get a lift, a boost in some way. All right, I've got the window open. That's why things are flapping about. Let's see what card we get. So it's almost like even that breeze that just come in, it hasn't come in on any other star sign that I've done yet. So why did that happen for you, dear Virgo? Okay, the winds of change are here. Let's see what card we get. Okay, I'm going to go with that one. It's about, there's multiple other cards there as well, but too many to read. But this card indicates brilliant flashes of intuition, brilliant ideas coming into your mind, very creative, unusual ways of doing things. So write them down immediately. You have a flash, write it down. I'm a shocker, because I have flashes in the daytime. I might be washing up or something, and I have flashes, and then I don't write them down and I forget. So please do write them down. Okay, that's the 8 of Wands if you're interested. Okay, so the second half of the month, closing my eyes now, what do I see? Great waterfalls here in front of me, washing away the past, the crisp, cool, clean water. This is chi force going into your body. You'll have more energy coming into your physical body, so more motivated, more inspired, less time. You've also got you've also got Mars in March in your 11th house of socializing, so you could be gallivanting about a lot, and this could help you get these brilliant ideas. You might be talking to people, and it sets off a cascade of events in your mind. Okay, the card that comes out in the second half of the month is the Page of Cups, bringing good news, bringing good feelings, because it is cups. It's about your emotions, and you'll see here she's got a cup with a fish in the cup. Okay, so messages from your subconscious coming up. You're holding the cup, so you're holding on to those emotions, and you're in control of your emotions. It's something to do with you expressing yourself. It's something to do with your intuition as well, because she's got this indigo around her third eye here. If you are clairvoyant, you might find it's a non-stop kaleidoscope of cinematography. that you see. That's what I find. Sometimes I've got to be careful. Like in Australia, we have this chain of shops called Spotlight. It's got all lots of crafty types of things and fabrics. And if I go in there in the afternoon and see those fabrics, then I'm laying in bed at night, because all of those brilliant colours are all swirling around in front of me, you see. And so maybe if you are going out gallivanting with people, call a halt at a reasonable time, so it doesn't affect your sleep. That's the only issue. You could be a bit excited or excitable and it affects your sleep. All of this new creative energy coming in. Let's make this a bit bigger for you so you can see like that. Okay, no retrogrades, no eclipses for anybody this month. However, we do have some big things happening with the planets. And firstly, we have a lot of planets changing signs. In fact, we have 7 planets changing signs, which is really quite unusual. I don't remember ever seeing that before. It is an unusual month because we also have Saturn going into Pisces, and we have Pluto going into Aquarius, and I will talk about these. Okay, so the first thing to note is that Mercury conjuncts Saturn here in your everyday life, in your normal sort of routine, the house of routine, health, work, the things you do on a daily basis. You could be holding some information back at work if you're, you know, in your daily work, or somebody could be holding information back from you, but it's only for a short period of time, right at the start, the 1st and 2nd of the month. So I don't think it's anything to be concerned about, but a restriction around information, or you only get limited information on something. But then Mercury joins the Sun and Neptune in Pisces. In Pisces, in your house of partnerships. This is good because it brings a lot of learning about relationships, the important relationships that you have. It brings new ideas and communications. And it could also, sometimes it's to do with legalities as well. And so you get new information, or even those people that you don't get on with, that was traditionally known as open enemies. So those that you know about that you don't get on with, or they don't get on with you, you get some new information about them possibly as well. On the 7th of March, then we have a worm full moon in Virgo here in your sign. Okay, so this is wonderful in the sense of it's going to shake you up, and it's going to cause you to re-evaluate or reassess your identity, your appearance, your relationship with the outer world, and how you want to relate to the world. Okay, so there's a bit of tweaking going on here. Even if it is a bit turbulent in terms of what's coming up from your subconscious, I see it as ultimately being a good thing. Also on the 7th, Saturn enters Pisces until May 2025. So that's for 2 years and 2 months. Okay, so it brings some sort of structure, or perhaps self-imposed restriction regarding your important relationships, your partnerships. It could be your marriage, it could be a business partnership. You know, it could be personal or business, but it could be a self-imposed restriction. Maybe you decide that you're going to have 1 or 2 days a week away from your partner because he or she is driving you nuts, perhaps, and it puts in some sort of, I was trying to say scheduling or structure, but it was coming out as security. So that's very interesting. Maybe you put in some sort of security regarding an important relationship, somebody that you care about, or maybe regarding a legal matter. Okay, so it'll be here till May 2025. The 11th of March sees Venus conjuncting Jupiter conjuncting Chiron, like a three-way conjunction, bringing peace to old wounds. And this could be concerning shared resources, something that you share with another person, maybe a company or even a government. But there's a healing that happens here. Venus is bringing peace and contentment. Jupiter is bringing expansion of these shared resources. And Chiron could highlight a spiritual wound or a wound that you've suffered in the past. It might initially be uncomfortable, certainly, but with these other two planets, Jupiter and Jupiter and Venus, there's likely to be some sort of healing that goes on. So this wound around shared resources, maybe it's to do with payments that you get from the government, or it could be to do with intimacy because it's something that is shared. Okay. Then on the 16th, Venus enters Taurus up here, the house of the higher mind, bringing a lovely, smooth, harmonious flow to your thinking. And it's joining there the North Node and Uranus, and at some point these will be all conjunct in the first or second week. And so it's perfectly at home here, Venus in Taurus, because Venus is the ruler of Taurus. And there could be something unusual, but probably favourable, and it's almost fated, it's almost destiny with these three together. So that's good news. On the 18th, Mercury also enters Aries here, and it's joining Jupiter and Chiron as well in this party. So there's a number of parties going on in your chart this month. And with Mercury, you're likely to have new understanding, comprehension. There's new thoughts and ideas, and there's communications about whatever it is that's happening here to do with joint resources, shared assets. The sun is going in here on the 20th, and then on the 21st, the new moon. So you may be thinking about buying real estate. You may be thinking about investing with another person, the two of you together, investing in something. And there's a new start around you, and it brings some sort of insight, awareness, happiness, or contentment. Intimacy is likely to improve if you're in a relationship, or maybe it's the intimacy of you just knowing yourself in a better way or in a new way. On the 23rd, Pluto enters Aquarius here. Your normal everyday work, your habits, your health and well-being. Something could be finishing up or ending, so it can be born again in a new and substantially better way, okay? This is like everyday habits. It's also everyday sort of garden variety, common type of work. If you're in a job that you enjoy, you might find that you don't have to do the tedious type jobs, and that you go up a level in some way. Maybe there's some sort of promotion or something, or you know, you enjoy your work more. But before that, it could be that the ending up is a bit the ending up of something could be a bit difficult because Pluto does bring very intense feelings. Sometimes there's issues about control, power over, addiction, manipulation, and all those fun things. But it's so that it can be born again in a better way. So that's really important. 25th of March sees Mars entering Cancer here, bringing a lot of vitality and energy to your social life. Maybe you attend new groups, you get out there in the world and get things done, and the only thing you need to be a bit cautious about, because Mars has a lot of energy, not everybody else has that sort of same force when you're communicating with people. Just watch that you don't come on too strong, because it is hard to control Mars. Mars has a lot to say, but often it comes through as been quite forceful. So just watch that, dear Virgo. Alrighty, so that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out your sun and moon sign as well, and have a fabulous month. Bye for now. Hello, lovely Libra. Thank you for joining me for your March horoscope. So first we're going to draw 2 cards as theme cards for the month for you. Let's go to the board and get that done, and then we're going to have a look at your horoscope in depth. Okay, so I just got the window open here. Everything's flapping around like you know, in a maniacal fashion, basically. So what do I see for Libra in March? Okay, look, I feel like it's not as smooth as you would like it, and because you're ruled by Venus, you love smooth. You do smooth very well. But there seems to be stops and starts, and it's like, you know how when you have like lots of different projects, you just want to finish those jobs up and not have so many bits and pieces. It feels a bit messy like that. But let's have a look and see what card we've got. It's the 7 of Cups. Okay, this is ultimately a good card in that this is like somebody reaching out for attainment, reaching out for success, really going for something, and it could be in a variety of ways, a variety of areas of your life. However, it's not always smooth sailing, as I was just saying a moment ago. Sometimes you have to be assertive, you have to put your hand up and say no. We're going down this other track. So I know you don't like confrontation, neither do I as a Libra, and you know, you would prefer people just got the subtle hint, but sometimes they don't. So if they don't get the subtle hint, then you're just going to have to spell it out, call it as it is, and call a spade a spade. Okay, you can do it, all right? You'll be fine. All right, but it's ultimately good for you because you're going for that spiritual attainment, that physical success. You're looking for it. It's like the ambition is tweaked. You're going to get it. You can keep going. Just don't give up. Second half of the month, what do we see for you, dear Libra? Okay, what do I see? Okay, I see a bow and arrow, and I see the arrow going into the air. It's been fired. It will hit the bullseye. It's not in the center of the bullseye, but it's still a success. So there's a couple of things that are not going to pan out the way you think, but overall it's looking pretty positive. Now let's see what card we get on that. Okay, time for celebrations. Things, even though not smooth, they still work out. This suggests that there's some sort of celebrations with friends. You could be going out more than usual, and just know, even if you don't normally socialize with these people or you don't agree on everything, there's a spiritual connection here. See, you're all in the fish's mouth, and that goes back to the early Christian days. Because, you know, Christians were a bit on the nose in the Roman times. They used secret, you know, handshakes or whatever. They used secret symbols, one of which was the fish, ichthys, and that's what this is about. You have a spiritual connection so that you recognize these people and they recognize you, but not at a surface level, at a true deep level. Okay, go out and enjoy yourself. It's nice to go to lunch, that's what I want to say. I feel like you'll be having more social events with people and enjoying yourself a bit more, which is a good thing. Okay, and you do have a fair bit happening here in your 5th house, so we'll talk about that in a moment. All right, let's make this a bit bigger. Zoom, so that you can see. Bear these 2 cards in mind. There might be turmoil, you might have been through a fair bit of turmoil lately. March is less so, okay? So for you, even though there is a lot happening with planets, and there's no retrogrades, no eclipses, but for you, it's actually more positive than for many other star signs. So we have a lot of the planets, 7 planets changing signs. Very, very unusual. A lot of new energy to deal with and to process. But you can do that, of course. You can manage that. The first thing I want to say too is Saturn and Mercury here on the 1st or the 2nd of the month is like some sort of restriction around communications or ideas. Maybe you're not getting the full story on something, okay, but it changes fairly soon, because Mercury on the 2nd moves and it goes into your house of work here, bringing new ideas, some learning experiences. You could be, on a deep learning curve with new ideas and communication. So there's quite a party going on here in your everyday life, in your work, in your health, a lot of things happening, and also another party happening with your very special close relationships and partnerships as well. On the 7th, there's a worm full moon in Virgo, okay, in your 12th house. So some turbulence coming up from the subconscious perhaps, but it's good in the sense of it's giving you flashes from within. Try not to worry. It's just releasing things. Things are being released from your subconscious. It's called a worm full moon because of the month that it appears in. So when, in March, there's a full moon, it's called, the name is worm. I guess it's a good time to go out if you're in the northern hemisphere to collect worms, but not maybe so good in the southern hemisphere. But yeah, I would have thought, it's, what is it? It'll be autumn in the southern, or fall in the southern hemisphere, and spring in the northern hemisphere. So I guess it is a good time to collect worms for compost, so you can really help your garden. Collect your own fertilizer, by the way. Just as a side note, fertilizer is a good thing to stock up on, because the prices are going to go through the roof. They have already increased a lot, and they're going to even skyrocket even more over the next year or two. So if you are in need of fertilizer, stock up now. Now on the 7th, Saturn enters Pisces for 2 years and 2 months, so until May 2025. Saturn isn't really at home here in Pisces, but it can bring some small degree of flexibility, which is unusual for Saturn in Pisces. So it could be quite positive because it's at work. You might find new procedures, new techniques, new ways of working, new structures in your normal everyday life. Maybe you are they're self-imposed, so you decide that you want to improve your health and well-being, so you might go for a half-hour walk every morning. I've just started walking my cat, Prince Harry, because he had a snake bite 2 months ago, so he's got to be on a leash now. And yeah, he's still not 100%, but that's the structure that I've put in every morning. So you can do the same. You don't have a cat that's been bitten by a snake probably, but you can come up with some sort of structure that improves your life and your health, your well-being. Then we have Jupiter, Venus and Chiron all conjunct, bringing peace to old wounds on the 11th of the month. Here they are here. This is in your house of significant partnerships, your marriages, your business partnerships, or people very close to you. Something could be healed. Sometimes initially in that healing you've got to be made aware of it, so it could be like an old scar that aches initially and it comes up for healing. But with Jupiter expanding everything, usually in a very positive way, Jupiter is in charge of good luck, by the way, and Venus bringing peace and contentment, I feel like it is a major healing there. So that's all happening in Aries. And then Venus will move into Taurus up here, bringing peace and contentment. Could be around your investments. Venus loves to deal with money, so you could be getting more secure around your investments. It could also be to do with intimacy or some asset that you share with another person, company or government. You also have the North Node and Uranus here. When Venus goes into Taurus on the 16th, then probably about a week later or so, these three are going to be conjunct. This is going to bring something very unusual and fated into your life regarding investments or shared assets or even intimacy. But I think it's very positive, and some major healing occurs. On the 18th, Mercury also joins the party here in your house of relationships, new ideas, new communications, marriages. You know, maybe you'll start talking to each other again or something. I'm being a bit facetious there, but it's like a bonus. It's like new ideas, a learning experience. You know, you think if you're with someone for a long time, you think you know them, and then you might find out there's something else you can learn. On the 20th, the Sun brings insight, awareness, stability, and contentment as well around your relationships. And the new moon brings a new beginning so that your relationships start again in a more positive or more evolved manner. Okay, so new beginnings. If you're not in a relationship, you may find that a casual thing becomes more committed, or if you are in an established relationship, there could be a renewal of vows, or maybe there's a baby or something happens, a new house, you buy a new home together, something happens to cement your union and make it even stronger. Pluto enters Aquarius on the 23rd of March here, and this is about your creativity, your romantic life, and living closer to the world of the child. Something may pass, and you'll get a clue between March and June as to what this issue is, because it's here for 3 months, then it goes back into Capricorn until January 2024, and then it comes back into Aquarius from 2024 to 2044. Your creativity, your ability to have fun, to go out and socialize, to relate to children, or maybe, you know, something is transformed, so there's a new baby in your household or a new baby in your family or something like that. And especially since it's a 20-year period from 2024 to 44, there's something major that's going to happen. This baby may be, if it is an actual physical baby, it could remind you of somebody you used to know, or you see your family reflected in this child. Maybe, you know, you can say this child takes after his mother or something, you see it. In Aquarius, there's sort of like a very positive humanitarian vibe that's going on as well. Sometimes initially with Pluto, it can be quite turbulent. Sometimes it brings up the darker sides of life. Can be control, manipulation, you know, something might look like that initially, to bring the new energy in, because like a phoenix rising from the ashes, this new energy is born again at a higher vibration. Okay, so I hope that makes sense for you. Let me know in the comments. On the 25th, Mars enters Cancer here, and so this brings a lot of energy to your career, to the life mission that you should be doing. Okay, so you get reinvigorated and full of gusto and full of vim and vigor to continue with your life mission, no matter what that may be. All right, so that's it, lovely Libra. Thank you so much for listening. Do check out your moon sign and also your rising or ascendant sign. Have a fabulous month. Thank you and bye for now. Hello, sensational Scorpio. Thank you for joining me for your March horoscope. So I'm going to pick 2 cards now as theme cards for the month for you. Let's go to the board. Okay, here we go. That's your horoscope coming up in a moment. But firstly, looking at these 2 cards. The first card is the first half of the month, if you like. Okay, so what do I see for Scorpio in March? Okay, putting your seal of approval on something. I see like those old-fashioned stamps, those wax. You put them into wax. Seal, that's what they're called, a seal. And so you're approving of something that's fairly major. I feel like it is some sort of communication because I see a letter here with the wax on the back. In the old days, they used to seal it with wax, and that way you knew that nobody had opened it. All right, the card that comes up for you is the 6 of Swords. Moving away from a difficult and stressful situation, something that you may have thought a lot about, but it's finished. Move away, make some decisions. And this is in your subconscious, but with Swords, it's all about thinking about it. Maybe you've been ruminating over something. It's been going round and round in circles in your mind. But this is saying you're on your path, you're on your journey, keep going. Okay, so bear that one in mind. And then in the second half of the month, close my eyes, what do I see? Reaching out. It's like there's something you're going for, feeling a bit more ambitious, really going for something. Okay, and there's some sort of level of justice with this. I see somebody blindfolded. This can also mean that, weighing things up, listening to your intuition. You are quite intuitive, okay, so super important to listen. The card that comes out is the Queen of Wands. This is wonderful, feeling motivated, really sort of listening to your own inner guidance. And you see this wildcat down the bottom, this Bengal looking cat. These are like your feminine instincts. You're listening to them. Well done, you. Feet on the ground because you're practical. Seated on a wooden throne because you're practical. Taking action. Going for success. See this gold around the waist here, the solar plexus, all about goal-oriented behavior, achievement, success, the sun, these sunflowers, insight, awareness, comfort and stability. And she's dressed in the beautiful indigo, which is all about your ability to see into the future. And if you're not clairvoyant, you don't see pictures. Not everybody does. I don't know why they don't, but they don't. But if you're not clairvoyant, you can still have the gift of what I call the gift of the scenario. And that is that you can logically see where the situation is going to end up. So it doesn't matter how you know, as long as you know. Okay, let's make this a bit bigger and bear these cards in mind because they could come up a fair bit. Now, you'll notice a lot of the planets are on this side, the western side of the sky, basically. I've got the window open, it's flapping like a crazy maniacal person. So this is the western side, this is the eastern side. It's sort of counterintuitive to what you think. So this is saying people are more important to you this month. And there are a lot of planets, 7 in fact, that are changing signs. This is very unusual. We don't normally get so many changes to deal with. There's no retrogrades or eclipses, so that's good news. Probably of all of these, the biggest ones are Saturn going into Pisces and Pluto going into Aquarius, and I will talk about those in a moment. at the beginning of the month here, Saturn and Mercury conjunct in your 4th house of home and family. Somebody might be holding back information from you, or they're not saying what they think, or alternatively it's you holding back, not saying what you think. But it's only for a day or two, so don't worry about that, because Mercury then moves over into your house of leisure and pleasure, living closer to the world of the child. You may have more to do with children. There may be more communications, or something to do with children learning, or you learning, and new ideas, fresh ideas. It's also good for romance as well. And you can see there's a lot of activity, a lot of planets here in this romance zone. You could meet somebody with so much activity, and also in your normal everyday life there's a lot of activity as well. So Saturn will be oh sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself here. Firstly, on the 7th we have the worm full moon in Virgo up here, shaking things up and transforming things around your friends, your groups, your associates, and even your hopes and dreams. So things could get a little bit turbulent, but that's okay. It'll settle down. It's only for a couple of days most probably. You may find out information about friends, and you know, that might change your opinion or something like that. And it's called a worm full moon because of the time of the year. It's in Virgo. It's time to be practical and have your feet on the ground. The card suggests this, so that's a good thing. And then, yeah, Saturn, I talked about Saturn going into, what did I say? Saturn enters Pisces. There we are. Saturn enters Pisces here. So this could bring some sort of structure or limitation to your social life or your romance, but it could be a good thing, because it could be some sort of self-imposed structure where you say, okay, Saturday nights, every Saturday night, no matter what, I'm going out with my friends. And you could bring scheduling or something to do with time, because Saturn is associated with time. It might be that you say, well, I'm going out with my friends, but I'm only going out until 11 p.m. because I'm not going to miss out on sleep because I'm gallivanting around the town, or something like that. Yeah, so it's sort of like a double-edged sword. It doesn't mean that something's necessarily going to restrict you in the way that it's forced upon you. It could mean that it's something that is self-imposed. So the next one I want to talk about is Venus conjunct Jupiter conjunct Chiron, a 3-way conjunction, bringing peace to old wounds in your everyday life. This can be your habits, your routine, it could be your health, or it could be your everyday work that you do. And with Jupiter, it's likely to bring some sort of good luck or expansiveness. With Venus, it's likely to bring some sort of smooth flowing, peaceful harmony. And with Chiron, there might have been a wound. Maybe that wound is sort of aggravated or something, but it's aggravated to get it to come up, so it can be ultimately healed. So it's a good, this 3-way conjunction is likely to be quite positive for you in your everyday life. And it's there with, sorry, I'll go on to the next one. So Venus will go on the 16th into your 7th house of committed relationships, also legalities, and it's also, in the old days, called open enemies, people you don't get on with. But with Venus going in there, it sort of smooths things over, because Venus doesn't like that. Venus likes to, you know, have peace and harmony. So there could be something happen where it's fated or destined, something very unusual that brings about a healing to do with your important relationships, your partnerships, and so on. So it's fairly important. Now the next thing is on the 20th, Sun goes into Aries as well, bringing insight and awareness around your health and work. And there's a real party happening here because the new moon is there, bringing new starts. Maybe your job is reinvigorated some way. There's a new beginning. Maybe you even think about leaving a job to start a new job. On the 23rd, Pluto enters Aquarius down here. Something in the family or around your home ends. Perhaps sometimes there's turbulence at that time. And this can be so that it is reborn again at a later date in a new, upgraded, evolved sort of frequency or vibration. And Pluto, you know, is in charge of ending things that are not working out, or it's just run its time. But yeah, it's also in charge of rebirth, associated with rebirth, which is like the phoenix rising from the ashes. Okay, I think about Aquarius, you know, very humanitarian, the age of enlightenment. You may see something about a family member that changes your opinion, perhaps. Then on the 25th, Mars is entering Cancer. Where are we? Here. Okay, this brings a lot of energy, gusto, vim and vigour to how you expand your life. You could be feeling more ambitious. Maybe you want to go overseas. Maybe you want to study. But you know that life is much bigger and you just want to experience new things in your life. It's ultimately fabulous for you, dear Scorpio. Alrighty, so that's it. Don't forget these cards. This one, moving away from a difficult situation and getting on with your life. Well done, you. And the Queen of Wands, feeling very inspired and motivated to get things done. Okay, so have a wonderful month, sensational Scorpio. Don't forget to check your moon sign and ascendant as well. Thanks a lot for watching, and bye for now. Hello dear savvy Sagittarius, I've got your horoscope for March here. Before we do your horoscope, of course, we're going to draw 2 tarot cards as theme cards for you. So let's go to the board now and draw these cards first. Okay, so the first half of the month for savvy Sagittarius, I'm seeing a picture, I don't know what it is. It's someone putting their hand forward. It's sort of like this. It's on a board. They're putting their hand, oh right, they're offering you help. And so the hand going out like that is like an offer. So you could get some sort of offer early in the month. It might be a good idea to take it. Let's see what card we get. I'll go with that one on top. The Queen of Swords. Okay, I think this is advice that you're being offered because there's a tendency for overthinking, and so you actually have to take control of your head. And somebody could just, it could be something quite casual, and they say, oh, stop overthinking it, or something like that. You have to take control of your head and stop that additional or that excessive mulling and ruminating over some sort of situation which has been unpleasant or causing you grief in some way. But I feel like it's only, that's not even the point. The point is you're sort of hurting yourself by going over and over it. Okay, so that's the beginning of the month. And then at the second half of the month, from the 15th on, what do I see? Doors opening in front of me, and what's on the other side? Okay, things sort out. There's a straighter path for you in the second half of the month, and I just see you on your merry way and left that situation. So it's something fairly minor, I think, because you leave it behind. The card that comes up is the King of Cups. That shows maturity, experience, being able to deal with situations that are less than optimal. You'll see here he's dressed in indigo because even though this is all about your emotions, there is a degree of intuition with this, and very high vibrational messages, you know, communications coming out of this person. This could be someone you know, or alternatively you can find it in yourself. But it is about being in control of your emotions. Your emotions don't control you. So this is typically an energy that is quite honest and direct, but very understanding, compassionate, got a high degree of empathy. And even though he's practical and down to earth here on the seashore, the subconscious waters are here in the background, and he's seated on shells to show that he is in touch with his subconscious. Even though I'm saying he, because it's a king, it could be an energy in a woman, particularly an older woman, maybe post-menopause, okay, or maybe in her 50s or post-menopause, because this is someone who is experienced and knows not to take every little detail, you know, to heart. Some of the things are just not worth worrying about. Okay, so they're your cards. Bear those in mind. Now I'll make this bigger. And here's your horoscope, like that. Alrighty, so I'm going to first point out there's no retrogrades or eclipses. February and March, the only months this year that fall into that category. So that's one less thing to worry about. We do, however, have a lot of planets that are changing sign. 7 planets are changing sign, and I don't remember that happening for a long time. So there are a lot of changes to deal with despite not having any eclipses or retrogrades. Okay, right at the beginning of the month, the 1st and 2nd, Mercury is conjunct Saturn here in your 3rd house of communications. Somebody's being very economical with the truth. It's not that they're lying to you necessarily, it's just that they're holding back info. Okay, it could be to do with, if you're in business, say promotions or marketing. It could be to do with study, if you're studying something, learning, or it could be a connection in your local area, maybe like a neighbour or somebody who lives quite close, maybe a distant sibling like a cousin, or maybe some family members that you haven't seen for a while. And alternatively, it could be you, just holding back, and it only lasts a short time, because on the 2nd, Mercury is then jumping into the 4th house of home and family, and then the discussions take place. Okay, and there's quite a lot of energy going on here at home or in the family. We do have on the 7th of the month, we have a full moon. It's called a worm moon for some reason, because you can go out worming, I guess. And it's in Virgo, up here in your 10th house. So anything to do with career, maybe a focus. It could be a bit turbulent. There's some feelings coming up from the subconscious about that. Women or a parent could be involved as well, some sort of authority figure. And there's this sort of, I won't say explosion, but this sort of big chunk of energy that comes up from your subconscious that you need to deal with, perhaps. Then also on the 7th, just to make things interesting, Saturn is entering Pisces here. It will be here for 2 years and 2 months, so until May 2025. If you're sensitive, you'll probably feel this, because it brings some sort of structure or maybe a restriction to do with home and family. Sometimes the restriction is self-imposed, so that could be something like scheduling. If you're sick of family members popping around all hours of the day and night for a Vegemite sandwich, then you might say, look, only come on Wednesdays and Sundays, because Saturn is in control of time, and or is associated with time, and so Saturn likes to schedule things. It doesn't like, you know, people just popping in like that. Okay, Saturn here could also bring some sort of limitations around your family. Maybe they have moved away, and so you don't see them as often as you would like. There's some sort of minimization or contraction is probably a better word, contraction around the home and the family. Maybe you're thinking about downsizing your home. That's a possibility. Although it could be on the cards. We will have Mars here, so real estate and investments may play a part in your thinking. Then the 11th of March, Venus conjuncts Jupiter conjuncting Chiron, a three-way conjunction here in your house of creativity, but also romance and living closer to the world of the child, having fun, leisure and pleasure, and there's some sort of likely healing here that happens. Sometimes with Chiron there can be a turbulent time at the start, but with Jupiter and Venus here as well, it's likely to be smoothed out and expanded in some way. That's why I think it's more of a healing than the actual wounding. It might be that old wounds are opened up around old romances perhaps, but then it's healed, and this beautiful loving energy is here of Venus, so that smooths things over, because Venus doesn't like ugly sorts of situations or confrontations or anything like that. She likes everything to be polite and courteous. So you know, I think it's ultimately beneficial, and Venus will then go into Taurus on the 16th, and she's perfectly at home here because Venus rules Taurus, you see. So Venus here, along with the North Node and Uranus, maybe around the 20th sometime, 25th, sometime like that, could suggest that something fated happens. It's like destiny, and it's a very unusual sort of circumstance that happens in your everyday life, or perhaps if you're working, it happens at work, because this is the house of work, health and well-being. It could be something to do with your health, but Venus doesn't really isn't really associated so much with health, other than she doesn't like stress. She does like peace, so it could just be a peaceful time or less stressful time, but certainly beneficial. The 18th sees Mercury moving into Aries, here bringing a lot of conversations. There's basically two parties going on of planets, two planetary parties, with a lot happening here in your home and family, and then a lot happening here in your creativity and romance zone. So Mercury brings a lot of insight, awareness and fresh new ideas to your romance or creativity. The Sun then joins in, bringing stability, warmth, comfort, and also insight and awareness. It's like your eyes open up. Then we have a new moon suggesting a new beginning in Aries, so it's quite bold, it's quite energetic and spontaneous. It could happen sort of all of a sudden type of energy. Pluto moves into Aquarius on the 23rd here, leaving, and you'll say thank God, leaving your house of finances, personal finances and values, and moves in here, which is all about your local area. You might think about leaving your home in, say, March through to June, and going to live somewhere else. That's a possibility. Whatever happens from March to June is a sample of something that is going to happen between 2024 and 2044, because Pluto will be coming here until June, then going back into Capricorn from June till January, and then coming back again from 2024 January through to 2044. So this brings a huge transformation over the next 20 years regarding your local area, regarding relatives, distant relatives, or siblings perhaps that you're not close to. It's also to do with study and learning. Maybe you decide to finish a course so that you can take another course or something like that. So it is an absolute humongous change. And in Aquarius, it's also associated with technology and humanitarianism, taking a somewhat detached view of things, you know, so it's like not getting overly emotionally involved, which might be a good thing, by the way. And finally, from the 25th, we have Mars entering Cancer up here, bringing a huge amount of energy and vitality to shared investments, those assets or resources that you share with somebody else, including a person, a company, or a government. So, you know, it's like maybe you decide you want to invest in something and then you're full of energy to, you know, go and do it. It's also about intimacy as well. It could suggest a very active sex life if you're lucky. Or maybe you'll say, oh no, that would be bad luck, whichever. But you'll have to deal with it when it happens, okay? Mars is associated, you know, with light, passionate affairs and things like that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that, because it's about the sharing. That's the important point. So it can be shared resources such as bank loans, you know, buying an investment and getting a loan for it. It can be your 401k or superannuation if you're in Australia. It can be things like inheritances and wills. So it's the energy that you share with another. Alrighty, so that's it, Savvy Sag. I hope this is useful for you. Don't forget to check out your sun and also, your moon and also your rising sign as well. Have a fabulous month. Thank you and bye for now. Hello, courageous Capricorns. I'm here with your March horoscope. But first, we're going to draw 2 tarot cards as theme cards for the month for you. So let's go to the board now. Here's your horoscope. But we'll do these 2 cards first. Closing my eyes for you for the first half of March. Okay, I see the Earth spinning around. There's something about time here. You might find that you're quite busy, in fact, and that time seems in short supply. So it's a good idea every night. I mean, you know, here I'm telling you what to do, but sometimes I do this if I get chaotic, more chaotic than usual, that is. Write out everything I have to do for the following day. I do it the night before. Because it's like you could lose some time or misschedule what you have to do, and it can create problems with appointments, of course. Let's have a look and see what card we get. The Page of Pentacles. This is about your money, and it implies that there's some news or messages coming to you. I'm optimistic, so I always think it's good news about your money. You don't have all of the facts, however, because she's dressed here in black, but there is action to be taken and you will do it. But you do have some of the facts, so enough to actually rock and roll and get stuff done. You will see that there is a bit going on, particularly with Pluto going into Aquarius, and I'll talk about that shortly, okay, and what that can mean for your money supply. Okay, that's the first card, and the second card of the month for you, courageous Capricorn. What do I see? I see a chain. Oh, right. Okay. The chain is breaking. This is sort of mixed, the feeling around this, because it's good to be free and liberated and drop the chains. However, it's almost like weak links will break, but they need to break, you see. So maybe they've been holding you back in some way. The card that comes up is the Two of Swords. You've got decisions to make, and you may choose to let go of some people, maybe even some friends, or maybe put some boundaries in, like you're going to make a decision where you cut off extraneous energy that has been tying you down in some way. The only thing to remember with this is, see these reflections. These are the reflections of the past. We all have this when we make a decision. We look at history and experience and say, well, I did that and then this happened, or I did this and then that happened, and so I won't do it again because I wasn't happy with that result. So just bear in mind that every situation is a new situation. However, sometimes there are energetic patterns and you may choose to break them this month, which is a good thing, in fact. All right, okay, so now we're going to look at your horoscope, and I'll just make that bit bigger, like that. Okay, so first thing to note, no retrogrades, no eclipses, which is good news. However, we do have a lot of change because we have 7 planets changing signs, which is really unusual. We don't usually get so many planets changing signs. So, okay, the first thing I just want to mention right at the start of the month, here we have Mercury conjuncting Saturn in your house of finances. Excuse me, I'll just take a drink. Lots of talking going on. And it could be that communications are held back about finances, or perhaps your possessions or the things that you value, but it's only for a day or two. So it's really nothing to worry about. Maybe you're sitting on something and not talking about it, you know, for a day or two while you ruminate in your mind about what you're going to do with your finances. Okay, on the 2nd, Mercury then moves into your 3rd house here. It's moving into Pisces, and so this brings a lot of new ideas and communications, maybe about study, maybe about you know, to do with distant family members or people in your local area. Maybe you're just chatting to the neighbour over the back fence, or running around doing a lot of errands in your local area. Okay, so there's a bit of a party going on here. There's a lot of energy. You could be quite busy. Okay, so that goes back to the vision of what I saw, and it sort of ties in with your money, because you could be paying bills or spending money in your gallivanting around the local area, so to speak. The full moon is in Virgo on the 7th up here, bringing a bit of a shake-up or some turbulence to the way that you expand your life and broaden your horizons. If you are study, there could be some turbulence around that, because often the 3rd house is also associated with study, and these two can activate each other. Okay, so that's just a bit more energy to throw into the pot. It's called the worm moon. I guess it's the time you go out and collect worms. I don't know why they called it that. The 7th also sees Saturn entering Pisces here, bringing some sort of restriction to your activities, but maybe it's self-imposed. Maybe it's a matter of scheduling. Saturn does look after time, and you might find that you have multiple appointments, you know, that you have to juggle. And so there could be some sort of restriction because you can't do everything at once. Sometimes there's authority figures involved with Saturn sort of telling you what to do, particularly if you're advertising. If you have a small business, you're promoting yourself or your business, there could be some issue there that you have to comply with some rules about advertising, or maybe you put something in the sizes wrong, or something minor like that. Then on the 11th, we have Venus conjuncting Jupiter, conjuncting Chiron, a three-way conjunction here in your home and family. Sometimes this brings up a bit of turbulence. Chiron brings back old wounds, or old scars begin to hurt again, but they're coming up for healing. With Venus and Jupiter, I feel like Venus smooths things over, and if there is something there to do with your home or your family, there could be some sort of expansion. Maybe it's a family get-together or a celebration of some kind, and Venus is there and smooths things over, healing old wounds. Where are we? Oh, Saturn entering Pisces, I didn't say. It'll be here for 2 years and 2 months, so until May 2025. Then on the 16th, Venus moves into Taurus here, bringing a beautiful, peaceful, harmonious sort of flowing energy to your creativity. Venus really appreciates creativity, you know, any art or music, she loves that. And she just makes it just lovely, you know, so bringing this lovely vibe. But also, because this is the house of romance, Venus loves love, and it's a great time for Venus in the 5th house here in Taurus is a great time for romance, and it's a kind of romance that's more elegant and refined, because Taurus likes that as well as Venus. And Venus is actually the ruler of Taurus, so this is pretty strong. Now we also have the North Node and the and Uranus here. So after the 16th, probably about that around that time from the 16th to the 25th, say, these are all going to be kind of conjunct. And this means there could be some sort of fated romance, fated meeting, like destiny strikes, and there's something very unusual or unpredictable. It just sort of happens. It's not like you planned it or anything like that. So yeah, that could be really good if you're looking for romance, or alternatively creativity, or perhaps even children, leisure and pleasure, fun in the sun, that type of thing. Mercury enters Aries on the 18th, joining this party here. So Mercury is going to bring a lot of fresh ideas and communications around your home. The Sun here brings insight and awareness, a sense of comfort and warmth. Okay, so it's a lovely time for home and family. On the 23rd of March, Pluto moves into your 2nd house, I mentioned before. Okay, it'll be here from March till June. It's going to give you a sample of what's going to come from January 2024 until 2044. So that's 20 years. Pluto's going to be here after January. With Pluto in Aquarius in your 2nd house of the things that you value, you might find that you become, over this time period, you become more humanitarian, you care more about other people, you want to change society for the better, but there's that's your values, but there's also money involved, perhaps, you know, so you may find you're giving more money as donations, or you're helping other people with money in some way. Okay, or with your possessions, but certainly your values, the things that you value, change radically, and you begin to see things that you didn't see before. When Pluto's in your sign, of course, you're thinking about yourself. You're supposed to do that because it's all about you, the 1st house, and how you get your message out into the world and how you approach the world. But it's a different kettle of fish when it's here in Aquarius, and it's to do with your money. So Capricorn, you're usually very good with money. It's a matter of what's probably going to happen here is there'll be increased social responsibility on your part, and you'll want to change things. You might even want to change things to do with government, things to do with society. Aquarius is the great humanitarian, and it works on the collective level. as well as personally, of course, but yeah, there's a big focus on the collective here. So the old is passing away. When Pluto moves into Aquarius, the old situation is done and dusted, it's dying. A new collective energy is coming in, and it'll be for the better. Okay, and if governments don't get their act together with this, they'll be thrown out, basically. That's how it'll work. Then we have Mars entering Cancer on the 25th of the month up here, bringing a lot of energy to your personal relationships. Sometimes it's quite passionate. It can be good for love or sex, more likely. You know, it's not really known as a planet of love. That's Venus down here. But sex can be good for. It can also bring arguments. So because it's so passionate, you know, arguments can start. And this can be to do with business or personal partners, or it can also be to do with people that you don't get on with. In astrology, you know, in the old days, they're called open enemies. So just watch that you don't get too passionate about the things. You may well believe them, sure. However, it can cause consternation, and legalities can be affected here too. So just be a little bit cautious about that. Alrighty, so that's it, Capricorn. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you found this useful. Don't forget, check out your moon sign and also your rising sign as well. Have a fabulous month. Thanks and bye for now. Hello, awesome Aquarius. I'm here with your March horoscope, and what a month we have. First, I'm going to pick 2 tarot cards as theme cards for you. So let's go to the board now and do that. Okay, so first half of the month is the first card, and closing my eyes now, what do I see? Okay, have you thought about a haircut? Maybe that's the time in March, early March, to have your hair trimmed, just to tidy up. There could be something about your appearance, and I see here Pluto going into your sign, and we'll talk about that more. So that's the first thing. Let's see what card we get. Okay, 9 of Wands. You may have been through a bit of a tough time where, you know, you started a job or you started a project or something and you felt quite motivated, but as the time's gone on, it's like you're running out of juice, and it's like you've had the strength and you've been ready to do it, but yeah, you're just maybe getting tired now. It's coming to the end of something, hence the haircut, cutting things back, getting back to your roots, so to speak, and you know, just having a bit of a rest here. See, she's got these red legs, so being quite active, standing up for herself, climbing the rungs of success, but it's coming to an end. There could be another job or another creative project or whatever it is, something else new coming up soon. You're starting a new beginning soon. All right, let's have a look at the second half of the month for you. I see a lot of water. It's a waterfall, actually. I see the rocks on the side, and a waterfall is like new energy, vigor, and vim and vigor. That's what I want to say, vim and vigor. It's like chi force being rejuvenated or renewed in some way. Maybe you just feel better physically. You feel like you've got a bit more energy, which is always a good thing. Okay, the card that comes up, I'll go for that one underneath, is, well, yeah, this one's still calling me. We're going to have both. Isn't that interesting? They're both threes. 3 of Cups and 3 of Wands. Okay, fiery inspiration, creativity. Working with other people, however, you may not always see eye to eye with them, but you will get the job done. Okay, so it's like there's some sort of spiritual connection between you, and even if you don't see eye to eye on every sort of point, with contemplation and, you know, sitting and self-reflection, you can get whatever this is. Sometimes this happens in a family with parents, and the adult children have to decide what they're going to do, sell the house, you know, the parents go into an old age retirement home, that sort of thing. This one, Three of Cups, is more about, again, you may not always see eye to eye, but these are people that you socialise with. It's sort of saying go out and have some fun, okay? Even if they're not your best friends or whatever, go out and just get out of the house. There is a spiritual connection with you. Okay, so second half of the month, that is. So here you can see it's like the end of something which has required a lot of energy, and go out and celebrate it, even if, you know, these people, they may be the same people that were involved here, and go out and celebrate the ending of it. Yeah. Okay, so let's have a look at your horoscope now, dear Aquarius. First thing to notice, no eclipse, no retrogrades, which is unusual because there's only February and March this year that this doesn't happen. However, there are a lot of planetary changes, like they're going into different signs. 7 planets are changing signs this month, which is quite mega, and especially add into that Saturn going into Pisces and Pluto going into Aquarius. So I will talk about those in a moment. At the start of the month, here in your sign, Mercury and Saturn, there's some sort of holding back of information. It's like here, you know, there's some energy to put out in the world. Maybe you think you should do it, but you don't do it. You know, so that's okay. It's only for a day or two, and then Mercury will slip into your house of personal finances here, which is in Pisces, and with the Sun and Neptune there, you're likely to have some sort of new ideas around your finances, and there's communications about that as well. And on the 7th, the full moon is going into Virgo here, which is about your investments, the energy or the finances that you share with others, or the shared resources, maybe real estate, investments, loans, wills, anything that you share with another person, company or government. There's some sort of shake-up or transformation that's going on, and these two often activate each other when they're opposite in the wheel like that. There's sort of like some kind of energy enhancement between your personal finances and these shared resources. And this house is also related to intimacy as well, so it could be to do with an intimate relationship with another person. Saturn entering Pisces here, which I just spoke of before, happens every 2 years and 2 months, so this will be active until May 2025. It brings some sort of restriction to your possessions, your finances, or maybe even your value systems, and how you value yourself perhaps. Sometimes these restrictions are self-imposed, so I don't want you to get the idea that it's necessarily something that's happening to you. It could be something that you decide for yourself. Maybe you're going to be a bit more careful with your money, and I think that's a good thing. With the way the world is at the moment, that everybody should be very careful with their finances now. Having said that, I think it's also a time when if you want to buy something and you really want something, I would buy it now, because next year or the year after, you may find you won't be able to get it. And there's what's happening in the world. We're going to see a lot of companies having difficulty getting stock, and especially if it's from China or Russia, there could be shortages on lots and lots of items. So if you really love something, buy it now, and make sure all those things that you really need and you really love, that you have a bit of a store of them. I'm not saying, go out and hoard or anything like that. I'm saying be cautious. Because, you know, in the old days, and you probably, if you're young, you won't remember, it was normal to have a pantry and to have your pantry fully stocked. And that's always like the normal thing to do. But now it doesn't seem to be, which I don't really understand. But anyway, so we also on the 11th have Venus conjuncting Jupiter conjuncting Chiron. And that is here in your 3rd house. This could indicate some sort of healing around your local area, your neighbours, maybe if you're studying. Excuse me, sneezing. I've got the window open, cool breeze coming in. But there's peace brought to old wounds. It could be a distant family member or somebody that you've lost contact with. It could be an old school friend. It could be something to do with learning, you know, and sharing with others. But it brings a peacefulness. And initially, Chiron can sort of be like a scar that hurts a bit, and then Venus and Jupiter will sort that out. So that's really good news. The 16th sees Venus going into Taurus here, bringing a lovely peaceful vibe to your home and family. Perhaps you're thinking about doing some sort of renovation or making your home beautiful in some way. And that's on the 16th. And then after that, shortly after that time, maybe around the 20th or 25th, it's going to be conjunct both the North Node and Uranus. So something fated like destiny could happen. And because it's Uranus, it could be unpredictable. It could be quite eccentric or unusual. And maybe you're going to decide you're going to paint your house red with blue spots or something. You know, something very eccentric and unusual could happen around your home. But I see it as beneficial. And with Venus there, it's bound to bring peace and comfort to you. 18th sees Mercury entering Aries as well into this party. So there's 2 parties going on this month. One's to do with your finances, a planetary party of a lot of energy, and the other one is to do with your local area, your neighbour that you chat to over the back fence, or your gallivanting around in your local area, paying bills, buying food and things like that. Perhaps it's to do with study. That is also a possibility. The sun is also moving into there, bringing insight and awareness and comfort. And the new moon is there, bringing new beginnings. And Pluto here is entering your sign. You're likely to find, that'll be on the 23rd of March, you're likely to find that you may become more of a humanitarian, if that's possible, but you do it in a different way now, because Pluto brings endings, but it also brings rebirth. And it could be that something that ended a while ago is reborn again in your life. So it might bring back something that helps other people. You could be more interested in technology. You could be more interested in the deepest things of life. What happens after people die, for example? You know, you might start to get really interested in the other side of life. Sometimes Pluto can bring things like control and manipulation, so you need to watch that as well. All the planets, of course, have, you know, positive and negative meanings. The 25th of March sees Mars entering Cancer up here, and this will bring a lot of energy and activity to your normal everyday life. You'll find yourself probably feeling quite energetic, doing more, getting out and about and accomplishing stuff. It can also make you quite passionate about things. You might find that you know, arguments ensue in, say, your work life or just in your normal everyday life too. But your health is likely to improve with Mars because you'll have more energy to cope. Just be careful there that you don't overdo it and get stressed. Okay, so that's it. Awesome, Aquarius. Thank you so much for listening today. I appreciate that. Don't forget to check your moon sign and also your rising sign. Have a wonderful month, and I'll catch you again later. Bye for now. Hello, passionate Pisces. Thanks for joining me for your March 2023 horoscope. So let's draw 2 cards now as theme cards for the month for you. We'll go to the board. Here's your horoscope, which we'll come to in a moment. But firstly, the cards. Closing my eyes. What do I see? Oh, okay, this is good. I see a PowerPoint plugging into the wall. This means that you've got increased currency. Okay, could be money, but currency, energy, more energy coming into you this month. Okay, so you can get more done. Okay, let's see what card we come up with. It's the 3 of Pentacles. This is all about doing good work, artistic, creative work perhaps, and being paid for what you do. 3 of Pentacles is, you know, step-by-step sort of approach. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does actually happen. It does mean that there's some sort of progress that you're making, and there's some sort of spiritual reward that you get from working. Okay, so you'll notice she's here in gold. This is a solar plexus, so success and achievement is yours, which helps you financially too. Or just got the window open here, so it's blowing a bit. And then we come to the second half of the month. Let's have a look. What do I see? I see coins straight away as soon as I close my eyes. This means change is coming to you. Sometimes it indicates money, but not as such. But you do have a lot happening here in your house of personal finances. So money is likely to be quite a big focus for you this month. We have the 4 of Wands. This is a fabulous time for taking an opportunity, and it's only in a certain time frame. It's not all the time that you can do this, but you can take time out, take the opportunity for some R&R to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Okay, so these cards are very similar. This one's more about revitalizing yourself, like having R&R so that you can regroup and recreate at a later time. There's a lot of growth here. Maybe go for a picnic. That would be really nice. Okay, so bear these 2 cards in mind now, and I'll make this a little bit bigger because now we're going to look at your horoscope. Now, the thing to note is, as I mentioned before, no eclipses, no retrogrades, but 7 of the planets, that's a lot, are actually changing signs. This is pretty unusual. I don't remember this happening for ages. So there is a lot of change, hence the coins I just saw, that everybody needs to deal with, and especially the big change of Saturn going into Pisces and Pluto going into Aquarius. But at the beginning of the month, there could be some sort of restrictions around the messages that you pick up from your subconscious, around your intuition, because you're normally quite intuitive, and just for the day or two at the beginning of the month, maybe you're not reading your dreams right, or you're not getting the message coming through. But very quickly that changes, because Mercury is going into your sign, and that's going to bring new messages and new ideas and communications, and how you put yourself out into the world. Okay, and you're likely to do it in a different sort of way. This is all about how you approach the world, the first house. It's about your identity and your appearance. Okay, then we have a full moon in Virgo over here in your house of committed relationships and partnerships. Whether they be business or personal, there could be some sort of shake-up here. It's also called the worm moon, and it might be a great idea or a great time to go out and get worms for your garden. I don't know, I've got no idea. Maybe just ask yourself, who are the worms that you know? I just think it's a strange name to give it. Usually it goes on the month, you know, and what the native tribes in Northern America or perhaps some parts of Europe, what they called that moon for that month. We don't have that tradition in Australia. On the 7th of the 3rd, Saturn enters Pisces here for 2 years and 2 months, so until May 2025, your sign. So you might feel a little bit limited or restricted in the way that you put your messages out into the world, in your identity. Maybe there's something holding you back where you don't go absolutely crazy about putting, you know, your identity into everything. It's important to be authentic, but you might hold back a bit. This can be self-imposed. You might decide, oh, that's not good for business if I say that or whatever. Just be aware of it. That Saturn brings structure, so it can be self-imposed. It's also associated with time, and so you might find that you're so busy that you don't have time to do a lot of things that maybe you would like to do, or get a lot of your messages out the way that you would like to. The 11th sees Venus conjunct Jupiter conjunct Chiron here. This is really good news for you. Because Chiron shows an old wound regarding money, personal finances, maybe possessions, or your values, the things that you value in life. And it could be sort of, the pot might be stirred, it could be agitated, this old wound might come up, but it's coming up for healing and release, because with Jupiter and Venus here, Venus is going to smooth over ruffled feathers, and Jupiter also can bring good luck. And so there could be some sort of healing around your money, which would be really fabulous. So there's a party in this second house of finances and values, and a lot of planets joining the party. Then on the 16th, Venus here moves into your third house, into Taurus. Venus is very at home with Taurus because Venus is the ruler of Taurus. The North Node and Uranus is also here, and so this sort of suggests that something very unusual, almost fated or destined, could happen regarding the people that you meet in your local area, regarding the jobs that you do, running around the town, paying your bills, shopping, all those sorts of things. Something very unusual and unpredictable could happen, but it's probably beneficial with Venus here, you see. So this is after the 16th. It's probably around the 20th, or maybe as late as the 25th. But these three will all be together and cause some major sort of thing that is destined to happen. Sometimes the third house can indicate marketing and promotions if you're in business. It can also indicate study and learning as well. Maybe you're thinking about doing a course and it ends up healing you in some way. On the 18th, Mercury enters Aries, joining all these other planets here, Venus, Jupiter, Chiron. Bringing fresh ideas and new communications about your money. The new moon jumps in on the 21st, bringing new beginnings, and also the sun on the 20th, bringing insight and awareness and maybe even happiness. So some major change around your money. It's pretty important. On the 23rd, Pluto enters Aquarius up here. Pluto in your 12th house brings very, very deep things. It dredges along the bottom of the oceans of your subconscious, bringing up deep things for healing, and also for your conscious awareness to look at. So it'd be a great time to keep a journal and write down the dreams that you have or the flashes that you have. Pluto is often associated with the collective, so any information you can get along those lines, you could help many people. So I really encourage you to do that. Sometimes it's things like the deep, darker aspects of emotions, such as control, manipulation, even addiction, that Pluto will bring up. And sometimes there's a healing that comes from that, because the phoenix rises from the ashes, and so you were reborn in some way, maybe without these, you know, afflictions, say, you know, addictions. It's an interesting time to try and give up any addiction. It might be really difficult to give up, but if you could give it up, it's probably for good. You probably won't backslide. The 25th also sees Mars entering Cancer, and that's down here in your 5th house, and it's all about creativity. You could be filled with motivation and inspiration to create, whether that be like artistically or musically, but also babies, because this house here is associated with children. It's like you have more to do with children, and if they're not actual physical children, maybe it's your own inner child that you're dealing with. There might be some pain that your inner child has from growing up. Some things happen that have not been resolved, but this will give you the energy to resolve it if that's what you wish. The only thing with Mars, of course, it brings enhanced energy, and sometimes it's more like forcefulness. So, yeah, don't overdo it, of course. And sometimes it brings arguments. But this is also the house of leisure and pleasure. So you could be more ambitious to have more free time and bring, you know, some leisure and pleasure into your life, and fun in the sun and all that sort of stuff. It's fabulous for romance because it gives you single-mindedness to go ahead and, you know, embark on some romance if that's what you wish to do. However, it can bring great sex, but that's not love, as we know. Venus is in relationship with love, is in relationship with the idea of love. So, yeah, there's limitations with Mars, but it sure is a help to make you feel better in some respects. Alrighty, so it looks like you're going to have a pretty meaningful month where you're going to focus on your finances, take some time out for R&R, and get some leisure and pleasure into your life, dear passionate Pisces. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate that. Don't forget to check out your moon sign and your ascendant as well. Have a fabulous month, everyone. Thank you. Bye for now.